So I really have tried to not involve politics too much in the videos that I'm making for this channel anymore. However, the world is just on fire, and I'm just going to at this point admit it and feel like there are things that we just have to talk about. However, I am going to still try to stick to discussing most of these things through a philosophical lens rather than it just being a partisan hack job or rant, as it were. I made the video yesterday concerning a trip up to the Sagamore that I took back in the summer. And while I was making that video, the news that I'm going to talk about today actually started hitting the airwaves. There's some stories online that came out pretty quickly. Some of it seemed, to be honest with you, when I first saw it, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a comment that was made flippantly and it was taken as news, but it really, at this point, everybody's being hyperbolic about everything that comes out of Trump's mouth. So I thought maybe, now, you know what? It's got to be just nonsense. There's no way this is true. But sure enough, it actually turns out that it is true. And we're going to take a look at it right now. As you can see here, there were some texts that went back and forth between the Prime Minister of Norway and Donald Trump. And in it, the President of Norway, whose name is Jonas, I forgot his last name. My apologies for that. Well, it's Jonas. Jonas Storr. Dear Mr. President, dear Donald, on the contract across the Atlantic on Greenland, Gaza, Ukraine, and your tariff announcement yesterday, you know our position on these issues. But we believe we all should work to take this down and de-escalate. So much is happening around us where we need to stand together. We are proposing a call with you later today, with both of us or separately. Give us a hint of what you prefer. Best, Alex and Jonas. Trump's response, not a half hour later, or just about a half hour later. Dear Jonas, this is real. Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus all in caps like he loves to do, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace. Peace again capitalized. Although it will always be predominant, but can we now think of what's good? But can we now think what is good and proper for the United States of America? Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership in quotes, right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. I have done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Again, complete, capitalized, total, and whatever, and control, capitalized for some reason. Thank you, President DJT. I don't even know what to say. Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. So we have a 80-something-year-old president of the United States who is clearly, if you're being favorable to him, is having a bout of narcissism on an epic level. The man is clearly upset that he did not receive a Nobel Peace Prize. Then the acting president of Venezuela gives him her Nobel Peace Prize, to which the Nobel Committee returns with a statement basically saying that you can't give your Peace Prize away. It's still her prize. Donald Trump just has physical possession of it. He can't actually have the Nobel Peace Prize. So then, out of frustration and anger, because he has been touting himself as somebody deserving of a Nobel Peace Prize for years. So now he's going to essentially say that he wants to take over Greenland because he didn't get what he wanted. Now, on its surface, that's narcissism. Just pure narcissism. It's all about him. He's willing to put the entire safety of the world, the pact of NATO that's been in place for, 70, 80 years, almost, put that at risk over a Nobel Peace Prize. He believes he's deserving of a Nobel Peace Prize, yet is willing to put the security of the world at risk over his own narcissism. So what I really believe, this is my belief, I'm not reporting anything that I know, I'm not a news journalist, I talk about the things that I see. my guess is that he's suffering some form of dementia. There is something mentally going on where his ability to understand right from wrong, reality from illusion, is suffering. That's what it looks like to me. And he is breaking so many of the norms of leadership in this situation, the things that are expected of a president of the United States. He is, if you haven't noticed, he's also been on a campaign of retribution, not only for not getting the Nobel Peace Prize, but for other things as well. We take a look at this. Here's a list of individuals. This is from ABC News. Here's a list of individuals, including Jerome Powell, targeted by the Trump administration. So, facing investigation, Jerome Powell. He's the head of the Federal Reserve, if you haven't paid attention to this stuff. Trump demanded lower interest rates. Lower interest rates allow oligarchs to make more money because lending becomes cheaper. They can make more purchases, buy more things. And the Fed is supposed to be independent. So Jerome Powell pushed back against Donald Trump and said, no, that's not how this works. We're an independent organization that monitors the economy, not only of the United States, but of the world, to decide where interest rates should be. And so in retribution for that initial pushback against Donald Trump tried to fire him, but was warned pretty heavily by a number of people in his circle, as well as online and news reporters across the world, that that's just something that's not done. The Fed is supposed to be independent. And so he couldn't go after him, so he went after one of his loyalists, Lisa Cook. She was the governor of the Federal Reserve. And so Donald Trump assumed that he could get her in trouble instead of going after Jerome Powell, and then tried that as well. So now they're both being investigated, although they're both still sitting in their jobs. He fired Lisa Cook. If I recall, he fired Lisa Cook and a judge put her back in her position. Mark Kelly, not only a United States hero, war hero, also an astronaut, also the husband of a U.S. senator who was shot in the face. He is also under now Trump's target. Why is all that happening? Who knows? I imagine it's because he is, suffering from some form of dementia. That's my guess. We have the president of the United States threatening to go to war with our allies to take imperialistic control of a sovereign nation who is actually seeking independence from Denmark. But at this point, they don't want to be a U.S. territory for sure. And now we have NATO at threat. So anyway, that's what I got for you today. I really am going to try to not be political every day, but sometimes I can't help myself. There are things we just have to talk about. So thanks for watching. My name is Christopher Hess. I'll see you again with another video tomorrow. Thanks again for watching the Christopher Hess Show. I'm really glad you took the time to watch. Now, if you liked what you saw, you can click right here. This will help you subscribe to my channel. Or you can click over here for a video that YouTube thinks is one you would like to watch. Once again, thanks for watching and have a great day.